Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Give me your hand. Thanks. Dakon heaves you up onto the precariously creaking platform. A marble archway greets you, wedged into a heap of crumbling rubble. It looks out of place, almost defiant in its grandeur. Is this it? I assume so. What do we have to do? Well, what did Nals say? All we need is a handful of junk, and we should be able to pass right through. This whole place is a handful of junk. Indeed, the archway leads only inches into the rubble before being blocked by a solid wall of refuse. The rubbish is packed so tightly it may as well be stones and mortar. Without knowing for certain what will activate the portal, you thrust the bag of metal scrap Iron Nals gave you into a crevice amidst the mass before you. And nothing happens. You wait a moment longer, starting to doubt if this is in fact the key, and still, no change in the rubble. Oh, come on. There's gotta be a way over or something. This is useless. Just as you say the word, the archway's outline begins to shimmer. The bag of metal scrap jangles as it shakes, and the wall of refuse flickers, wavers, and seems to fold in on itself, swirling into a morass of grey and brownish sludge. You tentatively place your hand within, and an unpleasant sucking sensation pulls on your skin. For a moment, you regret the decision, as nausea plunges into your stomach, and you are lurched forward into the muck, and flung through to the other side. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game. Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before.
Chief, are you there?
You hear their voices reach over the mounds of Ragpicker's Square and find yourself in a new clearing amongst the rubble, equally disordered and reeking of urine and decay. A large rusted hatch is bolted across the entrance of a tunnel, and the mud around it is gouged by deep wagon tracks. Yeah, come on through. As Mort and Dakon appear, you open the hatch, and the stench intensifies as stale air exhales from the passage sloping down into the mountain of trash. Inside, the walls too are carved directly into the vast dump, a mildewed jigsaw puzzle of broken furniture and old pipe, creaking and groaning like the gentle snore of an ancient trash giant. A little further down the way, you see a group of collectors couched on a heap of large sacks, swigging from a communal jug ritually passed between one another. Before them, a large copper still roils over an oil fire. Its smoke gathers in the upper reaches of the tunnel, and mixed with the potent tang of their hooch, somewhat masks the odor that hangs thick in the air. As you approach their huddle, a ragged middle-aged man dazedly clambers to his feet.
Oi.
He quickly looks you over, and then sneers.
I don't know you.
I don't believe I've made your acquaintance either. The collector continues to glare at you and huffs in annoyance, the sting of booze strong on his breath. I'm just passing through.
Why don't you just turn yourself on right back?
He spits. Is there a problem?
The problem, as I be saying it, Burke, is you continue to breathe in my presence.
You know, collecting bodies before they're dead sounds like a good way to meet the lady. You seem to talk some sense into this collector, and he turns his attention back to the jug of liquor.
Yeah, more trouble than it's worth. Look here, you leave me to my business, and I'll leave you on yours.
Noted. Just what is your business? You glance to the bubbers behind him and see a whole stack of the clay jugs, sealed and labeled and packed onto a small handcart.
You got green stuck in your ears? Look, most here will talk to you with their blade afore their bone box. And if you stay much longer, I'll be doing the same. Now move on.
Whatever. Winding through these depths, the magnitude of this city of doors makes itself monumentally apparent. Discarded items of an ancient world surround you at every turn. Layers upon layers of Sigel's history, crammed and crushed to form the packed and yawning walls of the trash warrens. Anything of obvious value has no doubt been scavenged, but you can't help wonder what mysteries lay hidden and buried here.
You sure do take us to the nicest places, Chief. Ugh. I don't even need a nose to know what this place smells like.
Do all Mimir's complain this much, or is this just a you thing?
What you call complaining, I call self-preservation. If you're hell's bent on walking blind into the worst parts of Sigil, at least it's my job to let you know how stupid it is.
Well, what do you know about this place?
Down here? Nothing. That's the problem.
Well, what do you suggest? I give up? Drop the search for Pharod? Pretend these goddamn directions aren't tattooed onto my back? While I do not share the skull's apprehension, I do wonder what you hope to find from this Pharod. What might he tell you that would put your mind at ease? I don't know. I don't have any answers, that's the point, Dakon. I'm not certain I even have the questions. All I have is his name and a direction pointing at him.
Well, you have us, Chief. I'm sorry. I mean, I really can't smell, you know, so it's not that bad, I suppose.
Thanks. Let's move on. As you delve deeper, the signs of any recent inhabitants become less frequent. The guttering torches that had lined the passage blink out of sight, leaving you in near darkness. The only light source, a dull glow radiating from patches of luminescent fungi that thrive in the damp air. You can just see the blurry outline of several narrower tunnels twisting out in front of you.
Mort, can you see anything ahead? I can look. There's a tunnel, 2 more tunnels, lots of garbage, and...
He floats a few feet further into the gloom.
Huh.
What do you see?
What is that? Is that a metal boat?
Shh! I heard something. Hello? Who's there? You wait. And nothing.
Chief, you might want to come look at this.
In the leftmost tunnel ahead, barely noticeable, you see a silent figure, feminine in form. Who are you? What do you want? A cold shiver creeps down your spine as the faint edges of a memory enter your mind.
Answer me!
As your eyes begin to adjust, you see she is a tiefling. She looks starved and unfamiliar. Are you all right? She does not answer, but remains still, tense, her eyelids clenched tight, twitching beneath her brow. What's wrong? You reach out, and her eyes snap open, pale pinpoints of grey piercing through the dark.
Murderer!
The voice reverberates in your mind, as if it had bypassed your ears entirely.
What?
Murder? What are you talking about?
Follow.
She touches her finger to your lips, and you taste the mold ingrained under her skin.
Follow us, murderer.
She turns, walking down the passage, silhouetted now by the faint glow of the walls. As you follow along, you notice more bodies looming in the darkness. Almost a dozen still figures staring at you with a vacant expression, their eyes catching the light like flickers of grey flame.
Proceed.
Each body turns to you in unison, raising an arm towards a structure ahead, half buried in the trash. The strange fungus grows rampant here, sprouting bony clusters of melted candle wax, guiding you to the entrance. Inside, a warped figure stoops over an altar of debris, its frame swaddled in tatters of cloth that ripple and bulge as it moves.
What is this?
The figure does not turn, but jerks out an arm, gesturing to the bodies behind you. They file in as one, bearing an emaciated man in soiled rags.
Please, make them stop. Please, make them stop.
They lay him gently on the altar. He does not resist, but reaches out to them, desperate and imploring.
The voices, the lights. I want it all to stop.
The cloaked figure turns, moving in disjointed bursts. You see no face veiled under its hood, but rows of tiny star-like points. Signaled by a twitch of the limb, each of the surrounding bodies takes a stalk of the glowing fungus and squeezes its radiant liquor into the gasping man's throat.
Bring me back.
He calms. His shivering stops. And he slowly rises to his feet, content. A grey light kindled in his eyes.
Who are you? We are the voice of the many. A hope of light for those lost in shadow. We are the warm embrace for those forgotten. Who are you, murderer?
Why do you call me murderer?
It is what you are. It is how you are remembered.
By who?
All of us. Join us, forgetful one. Let us fill the gaps in your mind. Relinquish yourself into our hope.
Run! Hundreds of scurrying feet scatter as the cloak, shorn in two, crumples upon the altar. Dakon's glaive singing bright gold shimmers through the air, illuminating the twisted figures around you. Snarling, grasping, gibbering, they clamber to smother him, a kaleidoscope of faces warped in your vision. The chamber swirls as you push your way through the folding bodies. Mort, Dakon, Mebeth, Reekwind, images layering through your mind as you squeeze yourself through curtains of muck, clawing to the tunnels. You stumble, blind and smeared, oozing snot-streaked cheeks you flee, running, panting, drowning in rivers of laughing tears. Screeching metal chews the passage behind, grinding rubble and trash. And you fall, swallowed in the darkness, lost. What in the hells? Mort! Dakon! If you can hear me, make a sound. Something. Damn it. As the visions in your mind settle, you find yourself enveloped in a sightless gloom. No shimmering fungus to light your way, just the acrid tang of dank air as you crawl, directionless through the rotten mulch. After several grueling minutes, you clamber into an open space and see the welcome glow of torchlight scatter across the walls. You follow the light around a bend and see a large handcart nestled deep into a groove of muddy tracks with a lit torch affixed to its front. Hello? Is there anyone there? I'm not here to harm you. I just... Dakon? Mort! What am I gonna do? The cart has clearly seen frequent use. It is caked in fresh mud and appears to have gone through generations of repair. Its wheels are entrenched deep into the ground, and it has no doubt become stuck. As you approach, you notice something odd stacked in its cargo.
What the?
A pile of long-dead corpses, their ancient bones exposed under scraps of dusty cloth.
You took your time getting here? We were beginning to wonder if you'd given up.
Who's this we? Who are you? The cold steel presses into your neck, and you see a gloved hand perched upon your shoulder.
What? You don't remember my voice?
It would help if I could see you.
All right. Easy, though. I'm not here to hurt you.
Is that why you have a knife to my throat?
Call it my insurance policy.
The blade remains in contact with your throat, but without so much as a scratch. You are swiveled around and see a slight figure before you, armored in an immaculately maintained dark velvet gambeson.
Remember me now?
The thief for hire. One of Shergrave's associates. Ratbone, right?
Oh, associates. Oh, I like that.
Care to lower your blade? Thanks. You've been down here this whole time.
Sure. I've been living off fungus and bin juice. Now you Burke, I followed you in. Been watching you, though. Quite an impression you've made on the hive.
Well, what are you doing down here anyway? Before she can answer, several figures round the corner, lit by a torch of their own.
I didn't leave them. I didn't think we'd need them. We wouldn't if you didn't crash the damn thing.
I didn't crash it. It got itself stuck.
Oh, it got itself stuck, did it? It all of a sudden gained sentience, said, "Today is my day. I'm driving off into the muck."
Hey, shut it, you two. Look ahead.
Oi, oi, who are you? What are you doing down here?
You look to Ratbone, but she's gone.
You hear me, Burke? I asked you a question.
There's 3 of them. One bears a shovel, and the others carry long planks of wood.
I got lost searching in Ragpicker's Square.
Oh, you got lost in the square. So lost you found yourself underneath it, eh?
You rest your hand on the axe slung at your waist.
Look, I don't mean anyone any harm. I'm just trying to find my way out.
Yeah, it happens down here. You gotta know the pathways, or you might end up in the loop.
The loop?
Don't worry about it. Tell you what, help us get this car unstuck and we'll lead you out, alright?
Sure. The other 2 shrug and trudge forward with the planks.
Great, now just lift it above the wheel.
Right here.
Yeah.
You heave against the wooden frame as the larger of the collectors wedges a plank under the wheel.
You got it?
Dull pain spreads through your skull as bursts of white spot your vision.
Can't have you spilling the chant on this place, Cutter.
Hot blood runs down your neck and you slump onto the side of the cart.
We'll get you out of here, as promised.
You reach for your axe as the shovel rips across your brow. One eye goes dark.
Fastest ticket to the mortuary. Don't worry, the Dusties will pay the fare.
You lurch your axe towards him, catching it into his grip.
God, help! Help!
A plank of wood rushes into your face, crushing your nose. The large collector stands above you, aiming another strike. But as your thoughts fade, the glint of steel draws across his neck, sprouting gouts of red that fill your darkening sight. The taste of copper is what you notice first, as saliva swills around your mouth. You test the integrity of your jaw with your tongue, finding only a slight wobble in your front teeth. Your other senses begin to creep in, the slow building reek of decay, a pounding thud, as blood courses to the swelling on the side of your face. Your head is hot, your body a little chill. Something scratches against your skin, clinging to the film of sweat that covers from your knees to your crown. Muffled sounds of movement, a light tapping, a brief shuffle, a gentle murmur. You open your eyes and see dots of light peek through holes in a coarse woven shroud. You draw the cloth away from your face, relieved that your hand still obeys the command of your mind, and reveal a rough wooden ceiling, dimly lit by the warmth of candlelight. You attempt to roll onto your side, straining as your half-mended ribs grind within your chest, and see, lying next to you, a corpse, pale and bloodless, with a deep gash drawn across its throat. You recognize the large collector who'd swung a plank into your face. Beyond him, just barely within your ability to focus, you see a broad, thick-shouldered woman dressed in a heavy burlap robe. She lumbers about the room, joints popping as she stoops to pick up hidden objects from unseen tables. Her hair is bound back from her head with a damp-looking rag, and she has a sour, curd-faced expression. She is mumbling to herself in a sing-song voice. Greetings. The woman doesn't hear your croaked attempt and instead stumbles back to a long table next to you and begins picking at something.
Oh, come on now. Oh, don't be difficult on Marta. Oh, he's been difficult, hasn't he, Marta? Yes, he is.
From what you can see, it looks like she's digging teeth out of another corpse's mouth, using only her hands and fingernails. When that doesn't work, she pulls out a splintered wooden chisel and a mallet, then thwacks at the gums until the tooth snaps free and puts it into a bag at her waist.
What are you doing?
Oi!
She leaps away from the corpse, startled.
If dead you or not, you might have said something earlier. Oh, false corpse. Nasty corpse. Yes, have you no shame?
Shame. No. I mean, what are you doing with those teeth?
Likes you cared for those teeth. Oh, rotted and scored and syrup brown. Who wonders they hadn't plopped out your bone box already? Isn't that right, Marta? Aye, rotten gone they are.
Powers, how many of you are there?
Your head pounds as you try to sit up, and nausea racks your stomach.
You hears this, Marta? Do yous?
Her face scrunches up like a wrung rag.
I hears it, Marta. I hears it.
With a grunt, she pounds at the corpse with her fists, making meaty thumps with every hit.
Please, stop. My head. I think I'm going to be sick.
Oh, haunt me, will you? Oh, take this and this. Oh, damnable deadest.
She takes a deep breath and lets the chisel fall to her side.
Oh, that's more like it, eh, Marta? Yes, corpse quiet, yes.
No. I am the one who spoke, not the corpse.
She jumps, startled, swinging her mallet towards your head, striking you on the cheek.
Whoa, easy, all right?
She spins, now swatting at Mort floating in the air. Dakon jumps in.
It's okay, it's us. Remember? He's not dead. He's our friend.
No, I'm not dead, but I think I'm gonna pass out. She squints and turns to face you.
Oh, how'd you get over there so fast?
She mumbles to herself.
Oh, no matter, how'd he do that? No glimmer.
Easy on it, Chief. This Graveblade's blind and near deaf. The lady is still mumbling to herself, something about corpses and gratitude that you don't quite catch.
Who are you?
Oh, Marta, does this one ask who I was? Aye, he did. No, well, nobody but mine. I am Marta the seamstress. Marta the seamstress.
She turns away, back to the corpse, singing her name to herself.
Right. Mort, Dakon, what happened?
I don't know, Chief. Whatever that thing was at that shroom party made the two of you flip out, screaming and thrashing about. You just ran.
What? I saw things that I hadn't. I lost myself. I don't know. Let's speak no more of this.
Sure.
How did you get out?
Well,
They found me.
true to form, Ratbone once again, emerges from the shadows wearing a casual grin.
And a good thing, too, or you might have been stuck in there for weeks.
She shoots Mort a wicked look and turns back to you.
Your friend has a funny way of saying thank you.
Thank you for saving me, for everything. I saw you, barely, just before I blacked out. Oh, what did you do with those thugs?
Well, 2 of them are lying right there.
She gestures to the bodies on the table next to you. And the third?
He ran. I tried to follow, but I don't know. He seemed to have some way of traversing these tunnels faster than I'd expect.
Portals?
Most likely. I wouldn't mind finding the dark of it all, if I'm honest.
Is that why you're here? Why you followed us down?
There's that. And to make sure you'd follow through on your task. Although seeing what was in that cart, I'm starting to build a bit of a picture.
Bones. In the mortuary, I found a note. Something about one of Pharod's halls. Skeletons. Desiccated corpses.
Corpses, aye, corpses.
Marta pushes the collector's cart to the table and dumps the fresh bodies onto the back.
Strip the corpses we bring you, they tell Marta. Pull out teethies, stitchies, thingies inside the corpse. Strip them cold and then we'll sell them to the dusties.
Who tells you to strip the corpses?
Oh, fat face Gimme Big Quint and the other crotch hobble crotch Pharod, isn't that right, Marta?
She gives a queer smile and nods.
Aye, it is, Marta.
Well, there you have it. You find out where they get them from, and your job's done.
Fair enough. Will you be sticking around?
Aye, I'll be here keeping a low profile. Come back if you hear anything. I'm sure Marta here won't mind as long as I keep myself quiet.
Quiet! Oh, quiet, you! All these people. I cannot hear myself think.
You step outside of Marta's hospice and find yourself in a cavernous pocket within this mountain of trash. The rubble is piled up in such a way to form a great basin, sloping up at the edges, almost mimicking the curvature of the city above. The walls comprise of a mixture of loose garbage and the actual walls of great buildings. It looks like it once might have been a whole city block, now scattered with disparate tents and crude structures. Several people gather towards the center, huddling around large trash fires that illuminate the cavern with a dull, shady orange, and a thick layer of smoke hangs above them like an ashen sky.
Oi, pass that jug around.
No, I work to pay for this.
Hey, I work.
Nah, all you do is lay around complaining about the cold.
One of them spots you observing them, a young-looking woman in patchwork clothes.
What do you want from us, Cutter?
Nothing. I'm just looking for someone.
Heh, you new here?
She gives you a quizzical look and then sighs.
Of course you are. Go on then, make it fast, Cutter. Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for Pharod. Do you know where I can find him? At the mention of Pharod, she tenses up for just a moment, but quickly hides it.
You a friend of his?
No, I just want to talk to him. She pauses to stare at you and smiles.
I see. Well, you've nearly found him. Over there behind the big old slab of metal, with those friendly-looking boys in front.
Thanks. Who are you?
That ain't important, Cutter. Some tricks or cracks too long ago, or maybe that was me da. One way or another, I'm just another one of the buried, trying to make my way however I can. Only, I keep getting asked questions, and it's stopping me from that. You done yet?
Sure. Thank you. It doesn't take you long to spot Pharod's kip. At the other side of the cavern, Looming over the structures around it is an imposing iron archway jammed into the wall of trash. Its squared and robust edges contrast the makeshift and haphazard nature of its surroundings, like a fortress marking its frontier.
Unbelievable roll. I think our friend might have something else involved here.
You're just jealous because you'll continue bad luck.
Shut your traps and roll the bleeding dice.
Below the arch, you see a group of well-armed men that look more like soldiers than the collectors you've dealt with so far. They glare silently as you pass under the arch and begin to close in behind you. Inside, you find a high chamber with a great bronze bell dangling from thick chains above you. This must be an old bell tower above some larger buried structure. As you enter the room, a heavy-set man lurches from his chair.
Hello there. Name's Bish. Who might you be? I'm Adan. What? We're here for Pharod.
Bish stares blankly at you, then shakes his head violently.
I never seen you before, and Pharod didn't tell me about no Adan coming round.
You notice his hand moving slowly towards his weapon.
Perhaps his confidence in you does not extend as far as you might think. Well, you best be telling him to readjust those thoughts if he expects my men and me to keep watch over this bleeding sinkhole. You best be telling me what you're doing here, Burke, before things get nasty. I've got nothing to hide, and I don't want to cause any trouble. I'm just here to speak with Pharod.
He sheathes his weapon and motions to a trapdoor located on the floor.
All right, on with you. But just you. Your friends here will stay with me.
Dakon's jaw clenches, but he relents.
Lad, watch your tongue down there. He's in as foul a mood as ever. Noted. Lads, escort him down. You be causing any trouble, and they'll be crushing your skulls, all right? Whatever you say, Bish.
Several of the guards lead you down a narrow, winding staircase, descending into a vaulted courtroom. Rows of benches spread out from central aisles, like ribs on a dusty spine, each stacked with various oddities, reams of paper and leather-bound books, paintings and sculptures of outlandish beasts, and bizarre mechanical artifacts whose only purpose seemed to be corroding in this musty hall. A hoarder's paradise, an unfathomable collection of unwanted things. Presiding over this museum of junk, like a king surveying the reach of his land, is an elderly man, slumped on a throne fashioned from the hand of some titanic statue. His scepter, a worn and grubby crutch with soiled rags padding beneath the armpit. His crown, a dusty powdered wig plastered to his scalp from ages of feverish sweat. His left leg is withered and twisted as if he'd tried to walk two directions at once and paid the price. His maggoty-colored skin is bunched heavily upon his brow and is flecked with liver spots. He is mumbling and smacking his lips as his eyes make a circuit of the room.
Greetings.
The man's eyes light up as he hears your voice.
'Tisn't my steady crop of jink come to Pharod's waiting arms again. Greetings, corpse.
He smiles a wicked gold-toothed grin.
Have you come to ask Pharod for another jaunt into the mortuary walls? My collectors have done as you asked. To the word.
He leans heavily against the crutch, causing it to creak dangerously.
Not so much luck to be had with the bauble, however. Did you perchance know where it is below? Would be such a help, it would.
Bauble?
Oh, the sphere then, corpse, the sphere. Have you?
Pharod reaches towards you, pleading like a beggar, then stops and composes himself.
No matter. I'll find it. No matter. No, that's not why I'm here.
A look of worry crosses his face.
Why then? Someone turned stag on my word. Dump you somewhere you were not meaning to be. Are we not square?
Pharod, I've come for information. I've been told you know something about me.
Know something about you?
The light in Pharod's eyes dims. He studies you, mumbling slightly as he scans up and down your frame.
Yes.
His eyes meet yours.
No.
Pharod, what is it? Pharod is studying you with a dead even gaze.
Tisn't a mama's fair, corpse. No time for games. No time for Pharod to play the wheel. What are you asking such questions for?
I need answers, Pharod. I was told you could provide them.
Now, who told you such a thing, corpse?
Who needed to tell me such a thing? Are you not Pharod?
So little said. So much told.
Pharod falls silent. And suddenly you have a feeling that he is dissecting you like a cadaver on a mortuary slab.
I know much you would know. Much, yes, much indeed.
Pharod smiles slowly, the folds of flesh on his face peeling back like a curtain. What do you know of me?
Oh, no. Not free, the question you ask.
He runs his pale tongue across his teeth and settles upon his throne like a vulture.
Much I can tell you, but the telling has a cost.
Go on, Pharod. Sneering, Pharod takes his crutch and taps the flagstones beneath him.
This village is not all that lies buried beneath Ragpicker's Square.
Yes, and?
Chambers, vaults, corridors, filled with the dead, all asleep in their coffins. Somewhere in those halls, somewhere there, lies something misplaced. Something mine.
What is it?
A small thing. A trinket.
Such a trifle.
A trifle.
As Pharod speaks, his words start echoing as if two people were speaking. You know you've heard them before. From your own lips.
It's a sphere. Made of
bronze.
Ugly. Feels like an egg.
It feels like an egg to the touch. And it smells of rotten custard. Am I right? Pharod falls deathly silent for a moment, then nods.
Yes. How much do you hide from me, corpse? Did you return to see if I remember what it is I want?
Why don't you get one of your collectors to retrieve it?
Because the corridors need no more dead from this village. Strong, fast, clever. These are qualities my villagers do not have. They go below. They do not return. Perhaps the dead will welcome their own. That is what I think, corpse.
Do you know where the sphere is?
And why do you suppose I ask you to look for it, corpse? I do not know where it is. I know it is buried deep, far deeper than any villager has ever gone down, below the catacombs, where the waters run deep.
I want to know what I'm buying with this trinket.
There's a lot knowing rattling around my brain box, corpse.
He holds up a withered finger.
One of them is this bit of wisdom. Everyone wants something, whether they know it or not. There is much I know about you, much that you would want to know.
Wisdom? From what I can see, all you have is an obsession. I doubt you can tell me anything of value, Pharod.
I've learned another priceless bit of wisdom, and for you, I give it for free. A man is often wrong about a great many things, and a dead man is one who has been wrong one too many times.
Pharod wipes a filthy lace handkerchief across the spittle on his parched lips.
Much do I have to tell you that one would consider of value.
Fine. I'll see about finding this sphere for you, in exchange for what you know. But one piece of wisdom I'll give for free. When a dead man returns with a question, the living better find an answer. Pharod cracks his crutch sharply against the flagstones.
Very well. A deal struck. A deal made. A sphere for a peek inside my brain box. Now, corpse. There is no time to waste. Go to the gatehouse at the base of our square and tell those slumbering fools to open it for you. Make haste! Make haste!
Hold a moment. When you greeted me, you said something about taking me on a jaunt to the mortuary. What did you mean?
You tell me, corpse. Perhaps the dusties that live there are more to your liking than some sweet-bosomed wench.
He adjusts his wig that has begun to unravel about his temples.
Most forgiving of them to let you stride in and out of there as you please, considering you don't have the decency to stay in the dead book.
I wanted to go back into the mortuary. But why?
Corpse. You were so pig eager to get in, now you spill that you don't even know why you wanted in there in the first place. Sometimes it's wonder why the planes turn.
How was I to get out of the mortuary once I was left there?
Corpse. You said naught about getting you out of that hole.
Never mind. I had some other questions.
Then ask and be gone.
Why are you here? What is this place?
This here is Illwind Court. Not a name of my choosing, thank you kindly. And the keep outside this court is the Buried Village, corpse.
What was the Buried Village?
Oh, well. Now there's a story. But, to tell true, this story bores me. The short of it, it's a piece of the hive that got bricked over one day. A piece of sigil got penned in the dead book.
What do you mean?
You know them floating goat heads that serve the lady, them dabbuses? Well, no matter if you do or not, they go all around, fixing, breaking, burying, building, all the time. Do you follow?
Yes, go on.
Well, as the chant goes, and a dusty chant it is too, being so old, them dabbuses just damn well bricked over a section of the hive one day, and all bodies just forgot about it. Dump a lot of trash on it, and soon, nobody even knows it's here.
Pharod's mouth stretches into a smile, drawing shadows into the creases of his face.
Wicked, no? A piece of sigil, all forgotten.
How did you find it?
I still have my eyes, corpse. And I still have my ears. And when you have the sense to tie the two together, then finding the dark of any matter is not as hard as some make it out to be.
Pharod rubs his filthy robe.
Now, was there something else you wanted to pry from my brain box before your task? You didn't come just to hear about this rag hole, did you?
You know, there are rumors of you about, Pharod. That you have found a wealth of bodies. What's the secret? Where do they come from?
Perhaps I could tell you. I might.
He frowns, studying you.
Or I could keep you guessing. Does a magician tell the secrets of his tricks? So it is with the collector.
Are you comparing yourself to a mage, Pharod? I think you're insulting the craft. Pharod flushes, and he raps his crutch against the ground.
Collecting is as much a skill as any petty mageling can hold a copper to.
Oh, Pharod. Finding a bunch of dead bodies and selling them can hardly compare to the study of magic.
Was it not skill that found this place? It took sense to find this place, it did. And it took sense to make the most of it.
The Buried Village? Come on, what's the secret of that?
As I've said, this village is not all that lies beneath Ragpicker's Square. Chambers, vaults, corridors.
Pharod cannot contain the faint smile that bleeds across his face, and his eyes glint like gold.
Places black as as pitch, filled with weeping stones and precious dead, all asleep in their coffins. Sleeping.
Where do all these dead come from? He affixes you with a lopsided stare.
Oh, corpse. Everything dies. Life is so short, but death lasts for so very, very long. Many people, many deaths.
His gaze travels past you.
Such a waste for their deaths to be useless in a Dusty's arms, eh?
What do you mean?
Not all the dead that goes to the mortuary gate is fed to the furnace, corpse. The Dusties once thought to bury some of the dead in the city's bowels. Still do on occasion. Under the village, so near, so close, is such a place. I would have been a fool not to see opportunities.
So you rob the catacombs of the dead that the dustmen placed there, sell them back to the dustmen, and they bury them again.
These catacombs are as deep as a Dusty's pockets.
And as deep as the greed of man.
Oh, yes. And the greed of man is something that shall always be counted upon when naught else is left, eh?
Very clever, Pharod. One more thing.
Oh, come, corpse. Time's short, and so's my patience.
I once heard a tale of a man named Pharod. A king of rags.
Well, that's so. Well, Siggleby of tales it is, but any tale involving Pharod can't be one these ears wouldn't want to hear.
He looks at you with mock suspicion, then grins.
Become a tale teller, have you, corpse? Well, go on then. Tell.
The tale is a strange one. It tells of a man of position and wealth who had everything. Then he discovered he had nothing. Pharod's grin freezes on his face, and his eyes take on a fiery gleam.
Are you certain you wish to tell this tale, corpse? Maybe you won't like how it ends, eh?
The man was such a liar, a cheat, that he twisted himself into a corner. He discovered that when death would come for him, it would take him to a terrible place. Pharod's grin dies. He looks frightened. He was determined to avoid such a fate, so he desperately looked for a way out of it. He would cheat fate, as he had cheated others. His face twists as if he had just swallowed something unpleasant. He found an answer, or he found a place to look for the answer. He was told to search the trash of Sigil for that which would let him escape his fate. Now, Pharod, perhaps you can tell me how the story ends. You watch as blood fills his features.
It has no ending, not for I.
His finger lashes out at you.
Now, a tale do I have for you, corpse.
I'm not here.
A corpse comes to Pharod's court, ripe with stench and promises, claiming he would find that which Pharod needed. But what did he bring? Nothing! Promise is broken, corpse. Do you deny it? Say that you do, for it means that you've lied to me, and I will die because of it.
I've said I'll search for it, Pharod. No promises have been broken.
Lies that lead to the death of another are the blackest thing.
He taps his crutch, wheezing slightly.
You'd best keep your word, else the plains will grind you like a miller's wheel.
We'll see, Pharod. Farewell.
Farewell, corpse.
Day 7. Hour 5 after peak, I think. Even for Sigil, it's hard to tell the time down here. I finally found Pharod in the buried village beneath Rakbika Square. Unfortunately, he didn't seem all that pleased to see me. He does claim to know something of my past, so I've agreed to descend into the catacombs and bring him back an artifact. A bronze sphere. He thinks the sphere is located in the deepest part of the catacombs, where the water drowns the passageways. He said that my past self wanted to get back into the mortuary. Why? Was I looking for something there? Every warning I was given about Pharod holds truth. But right now, I don't have any other options. You ascend the winding staircase, closely flanked by Pharod's heavily armed goons. Awaiting you at the top are Mort and Dakon, who have been left seemingly unperturbed, and Bish, who greets you with a hearty bellow. I didn't think anything had put Pharod in a worse mood. After the racket we heard, I was worried the whole Pickers Square would cave in on us. Old friends, he and I. We had some catching up to do. Aye. Well, you're one of us now. I wouldn't go that far. No. Anyone willing to head down to Tombs earns my respect. Doubly so if they return. Well, let's hope I return. You'll want to go speak to Quint before you head under. Stock up on supplies. He slaps his palm onto your back and leads you out the chamber. On your way, you notice an anxious-looking man leaning against the wall in the corner. He raises his head as you pass, and a look of fear and fury crosses his face. Immediately, you recognize the collector who'd attacked you in the trash warrens, just as he lunges at you. Bish's soldiers grab the man, holding him back. Hey, easy, Thrasher. What's going on?
It's him! This is the one! Put my boys in the dead book, and the balmy would have killed me too if I hadn't fled.
Killed you? You attacked me.
No. You're misremembering. Swung at me with his axe, he did, look!
He holds up his mangled left hand, wrapped in a blood-soaked bandage.
I thought we could do anything. Some devilry took him over. The shadows themselves, they came alive around him. They did. I didn't stay to look. I ran. What else was I to do?
You'll do nothing is what? Pharod's got him doing a job, and we're to leave him be, understood?
But he's a murderer!
I don't care what he is. Whatever's been done will be settled when he returns. If he returns. Drop it. The man shakes off the guards and relaxes his stance, staring you dead in the eye.
Oh, you look smug now. But if the dead don't get you, Cutter, I will.
Quint's shop is a narrow, crotchety storehouse with a single slanted bench displaying an array of tools used in the delicate process of tomb cracking. Inside, it smells like a combination of wet fur and rotten leather. The proprietor himself, similarly odorous, is penned behind an iron grate set in front of the counter, separating him and the till from any would-be attackers. He is a short man, his head barely clearing the bench top. His teeth are rotten, and he wheezes as he looks you up and down.
I'm Quint. You knew?
Who wants to know?
Me, eh? So, you knew?
Yes. He looks at you with suspicion.
You selling or trading, eh?
Yes. His eyes narrow even further.
Dealing, eh? With me? With everybody but Quitch, eh?
With you?
Just me? Me, eh?
Yes, just with you.
Oh, that's so, eh? Oh, well, let's deal then, eh?
Anything you're interested in?
Or anything interesting, eh?
He smiles.
You were looking for something?
A journal, perhaps.
A journal, eh? Gold leaf, maybe?
I don't know.
Oh, no, me.
Well, what do you usually trade for?
Tools, weapons, stitch thread, teeth, parts here and there from the dearly departed, eh? And lots of corpse fishing to be done in the catacombs below. If you know about it. Virgin territory. Folks pay more than you'd think when they're desperate, eh? Them living here, they go down there, those collectors, get some stuff, get some bodies, bring 'em back to Marta, the balmy seamstress, one to steer clear of. She picks 'em clean, passes it all on to Pharod, show him, he takes his cut, then he deals with me. Folk bring all sorts back. A few pieces from the deaders, urns, some jinks, some little knickknacks. That's my deal. buck.
What if I dealt with you directly?
Oh, no. I couldn't have no part of that, eh?
He demonstratively strokes his chin.
Well, maybe the old Quint's a little tired of getting Pharod's leavings and dealing in corpse bits when I could have a few urns and deaded treasures direct, eh? If you were to tell me it came from Pharod, though, I couldn't know no better, could I, eh? I'd just presume that it was all above the board, eh?
I see. What can you tell me about Pharod?
Oh, well, start a crutch, eh? Well, he set up this place. He loaded the lane. He set me up too, eh? Say, if we're to have a more advantageous arrangement, perhaps you'd be interested in a job for me.
What sort of job?
Rhys, eh? Rhys, the vulture, we call him. He left his past few peaks with a band of collectors. Nobody's seen or heard of them since. Catacombs probably got them. Lots of things in the dark places down there, eh? Well, not fortunate that Gris be in the dead book, nor the others, of course. Good collector, Gris, eh? Black heart, but got a nose sharp for the crypts. He's also got something in mind. Find him and get it back, and you get something on the side, eh? Give you junk and a deal on junk, eh?
Sure, I'll keep an eye out.
Well, it's a necklace, a hollow teeth. Charming thing. Probably find it wherever Gris is, and let me know, eh?
I will. Now, let me see your wares.
Well, that's what I like to hear.
Outside of Quint's storehouse, you find one of the villagers you'd met by the fire, sat waiting in the dirt. She quickly stands when she sees you, but doesn't hold eye contact, glancing only briefly at your face. You notice her eyes travel along your many scars, and her worried look deepens. Are you all right?
So you saw Pharod then, did you?
I did.
Are you one of his boys now?
No.
Then why'd you go to him?
He may have something of mine.
Yeah, no doubt. He has something of mine, too.
I get the impression you don't care for Pharod much. She remains silent for a moment, then sighs.
No, I don't.
Care to tell me why?
He's got himself set up as some sort of baron here. Everyone does what he says, everyone pays him tribute. And if you don't...
She shrugs. Tribute? From what? She looks about nervously and then leans in close to whisper to you.
Everything. No shared copper here goes unnoticed. You find any small thing, an old trinket, a lost purse, his boys come and claim it. Barely leaves us enough to keep fed.
Go on.
Pharod gets rich, we just get by. Barely. It's the same story no matter where you go. The rich get richer and the poor get skewered on some other poor Burke shiv, I suppose.
Who are you? What's your name?
I told you it don't matter. Cheryl. My name is Cheryl.
Cheryl? Why are you down here, Cheryl?
Mida. I followed him down. We didn't have anywhere up in the hive to stay. Streets are too dangerous. Well, at least when I was younger. He thought he'd make some jink down here. Save enough for us to go back up.
I see. Well, what's it like down here? Anything you can tell me?
Not really. Just watch your step. Be careful who you call friend. That's all.
She habitually glances over her shoulder. Your Da, is he still around? She returns her gaze to the floor. Is something wrong? Do you know where he is? As she looks up, you see her face is set like stone.
My father, Arkin. He's missing and I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end.
I'm sorry. Tell me what happened. Maybe I can help.
My father, he's been getting more desperate lately. Pushing himself, taking more risks. He volunteered to go down into the tombs with Gris and the lot. I told him he shouldn't. He wouldn't listen. On one of his excursions there, he said he found some record or something that spoke of crypts that could only be entered through portals.
Go on.
My father thought that those crypts must be for special people. The rich or nobles or... who knows? Why else would you make them so hard to get to? I told him he was barmy, that they'd likely be trapped. That just made him mad. In any case, I haven't seen him since his last trip.
How long's he been gone?
Well, it's been a few days, but that's usual. But before he went down last, I saw he'd been to Althera, the fortune teller. I think he's tried to do something really stupid, if I'm honest.
Have you spoken to this Althera?
No. She gives me the creeps, like she can feel what I feel, you know? I don't like that.
Well, maybe I could speak to her. See if she knows anything. Cheryl visibly relaxes and smiles at you.
Thank you.
No problem. Where might I find this fortune teller?
She has a hut that she wheels about as she pleases. No permanent spot. People tend to give her a wide berth. Unless they want to know something.
I see. Leave it to me. I'll see what I can find. The atmosphere of the buried village feels very unlike that of the hive. By no stretch do the people seem more cheerful. In some cases, their situation appears to be far worse. But there's a sense of stillness that you have not seen on the bustling streets above. The communal fires draw people into the center, where they sit, snap at each other occasionally, then pass the liquor jug between them. It is hostile, yet it feels connected in a way that you cannot comprehend. Circling around one of these campfires is a lone woman, separated from the rest, bundled in layers of worn yet colorful clothing. She pulls behind her a small covered cart, gently chuckling to herself as she kicks stones and debris out of her path. When she notices your approach, she gives you a broad smile.
Come to see Althera, have you? What can she do for you?
Greetings.
Greetings to you. Rarely does one such as you come to visit Althera. What is it that you need?
Who are you?
Did you not hear me? Have scars grown over your ears and made you deaf?
She cocks her head to one side and begins to examine your ears.
No matter. Althera. Althera is who I am. Althera the Witch, some call me.
Are you a witch?
Of course not. Folk don't understand Althera. Think she's crazy, strange. That's all.
I've heard someone call you a fortune teller. Is that what you do?
What Althera does is what she does. People can call me what they like.
She smiles, and her ageless face creases far more than you'd expect.
She divines things. Folk come to her and ask her questions. She finds the secrets, lost to their minds. Not sure about fortune, but teller is as good a word as any.
I've lost my name. Could you help me find that? She frowns at you for a moment, and then holds out a withered hand.
Your hand, come. Give it to Althera.
She lays a palm on top of yours, then lightly traces the leathery cracks of your skin. Her hand is warm to the touch, and while heavily calloused, there's a comfort and a gentleness to it. Your arm begins to tingle slightly as her warmth spreads throughout your body. You feel light. It's almost as if the blood in your veins can flow more freely. A pulse surges through you as a grimace starts to form in her face. That flow becomes a pull, a tidal drag, drawing the sensation deeper into your bones, filling the chasms within you, quenching some desperate thirst. You hear a gasp as she snatches from your hold, purple welts staining the edges of her hand where your fingers had gripped into her skin. You hadn't realized you'd been holding her so tight.
What happened?
She takes a moment to recompose herself.
A strange one you are.
She shakes her head.
Althera doesn't know. Your name is not lost, but given up freely, or held by another. A great gulf Althera sees in you. Nameless you are, and nameless you will remain. A choice you made. Althera cannot help you. You are beyond her simple means.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
Althera understands less than you do. Forgive. She cannot help you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean our...
No. not to worry yourself about me. You've enough problems.
If I may, I came to ask you about a collector, Arkin, father to Cheryl, here in the village.
Ugh, that fool. What do you want to know about Arkin?
Cheryl says he's missing. She's worried about him. She nods her head, slowly.
Missing he may be. I warned him. Ugh, foolish man. No manners at all. Came to Althea and asked her to divine what fate had in store for him. Desperate he was. Find his fate Althea did. If it was riches he sought, then it was riches he'd find. Buried with riches he would be, but buried nonetheless. He scorned me for that.
Is he still alive?
And why would I know that? I warned him. I told him the dangers of following this path. He rushed off in a huff, without so much as a thanks.
I'm gonna go see if I can find him. Can you help me?
Where would we even begin?
His daughter, Cheryl, says he mentioned something about a tomb, accessible only by a portal. He may have found a way in.
Give me a moment.
Althea begins to rummage in the back of her cart and eventually finds a bundle of colourful bolts of cloth. She selects a deep purple shawl, sets it upon the ground, then places a polished tortoise shell in the centre. She then proceeds to scatter a collection of carved wooden figures and worn knuckle bones within the shell, and waits. What do you see?
Shh! I'm looking.
After a long-held breath, she finally releases a deep sigh.
Aye, a tomb there is, gated by one of the ladies' doors. I cannot see his fate, though.
What does that mean?
Usually, not a good thing.
And what of the key? How do I find this tomb? She taps her chin with a calloused finger.
Sympathetic it would be.
She closes her eyes and furrows her brow, thinking for a moment.
A human leg bone.
What?
A human leg bone is the key. You'll find the entrance in the upper catacombs. Grand the passage will seem, but to a dead end it will lead. The bone is the key.
A human leg bone. I have an idea. Thank you, Althea. Farewell.
Farewell.
You head back to Marta, the seamstress's hut. Amongst all the dead there, you know there must be at least one spare femur kicking around. The smell of old blood nearly overwhelms you as you enter, and you see Marta stooped over a table, with her hands covered by one of the corpses. A look of intense concentration is on her face. Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh, it's him again, Marta. What's he want this time?
You pull stitches out of corpses. Can I buy something from you? She seems confused.
Buy? Jink. Ain't you here to pick some up? That's what you're here for, ain't you? To pick up the thread, the bones, the rattling teethies.
She nods to a table behind you, covered in spools of thread and other strange objects. You think you saw a skeletal hand among them. No, I'm not here to pick them up, but I'll buy from you. She stares at the coins in your own hand, as if not sure what to make of them.
Shiny, shine. Oh, what's they want again, Marta? Marta, what did they want?
I was wondering if I could take a leg bone, a human one, if you have any to spare.
Oh, aye, help yourself. I just pulls the Stitchies and Teethies.
You look around and see gruesome tubs of assorted limbs and leftover body parts collected from the tombs. Thanks. What are you doing now?
Oh, I'm trying to get this Burke to give up his Stitchies and his Teethies, and he isn't re-cooperating. No.
She wags a crimson-soaked finger as if lecturing a small child.
Stubborn as stone, isn't he, Marta?
She then pouts.
Yes, he is. He got to pull the Stitchies out, the Teethies. Hey, Marta, perhaps you could give me a hand? I have been giving you a hand, you old batty, and no needs to take that tone with me. Pulling out the Stitchies and Teethies, yes. And the thingies inside.
Thingies inside.
I think she means organs.
I hope she means organs.
Thingies! Yes, thingies.
You see, it's all semantics. Huh. You think you could dig in my body and find anything? Marta squints at you.
Oh, Marta can do that. Can't you, Marta? Yes, you can.
I am not gonna watch this.
Oh, but where? Where?
Marta begins studying you carefully, as if looking for the best place to crack you open. Let's try the stomach, shall we? The next few minutes are some of the most horrifying and yet most intriguing that you've experienced so far. You lie upon the table, and Marta stands over you, a rusty knife at the ready. You watch in morbid fascination as she slices, cuts, and saws into various parts of your body.
Oh, nothing found, Marta? No, nothing, Marta, no luck. Should we try again?
How about my rib cage? The pain is unimaginable, and you repeatedly fall unconscious, only to be revived as she presents organs to you as if they were newborn babes. There is a wrenching pain as Marta lifts up the ropey mass of your intestines, blood and other fluids streaming from it.
Look at this, Marta, look at this. I see. Oh, cut there.
She then makes a small, deft incision in the side of one of the intestines, and you hear a ting as something small and metallic strikes the floor. Marta then dumps the soupy mass back into your abdomen, then reaches down, picks up the object, a ring it appears, and flicks it to you.
Oh, pretty, Marta. Yes, Marta. One shouldn't swallow such a thing. No.
Thanks. Was there anything else?
Oh, nothing more. More nothing, Marta? No, we picked you clean.
I do not know what drove you to do that, but if it's helped you in the knowing of yourself, then I will withhold any judgment. Yeah, that's it. All in the light of self-discovery.
Live and let live is what I usually say, but what I just saw really stretches what I think sane people should be doing. That was not expected.
Ratbone. Sorry, I didn't know you were there.
Oh, and if you did, you would have been more modest with your organs? Well, good to know. Do you have any information for me?
Yes. Pharod's supply of dead bodies is coming from the catacombs beneath Sigil. He makes a lot of jink selling corpses the dustmen have already buried right back to them. Her eyes widen in surprise. She almost looks impressed. There is a gate that leads down into the catacombs from here. I'm about to head in there myself.
I'm impressed. How'd you pull it out of him?
His pride. He couldn't bear that I thought it a cheap trick. Now that his secret's out, how much longer can it last?
Right you are. Here's your jink cutter, courtesy of Sharegrave. Enjoy it.
She hands you a hefty pouch of coins. Thanks. You said you were a thief for hire.
Aye, and some.
I've seen a little of what you can do. Some of it might be useful where I'm going. Could you teach me a few tricks of your own?
After what you've done, sure. Been trained before?
No, I don't think so.
That's fine. I'm going to cuff you now, so dodge it.
Suddenly, with no further warning, she swings her open hand at your head, and you narrowly avoid Ratbone's blow.
Not bad, Cutter. Now, you knows if you want to be practicing the trade, you can't be clunking about, right? We don't bother ourselves with the heavy stuff and stick more to the precise tools.
She flourishes her gleaming fighting knife.
You all right with that, Cutter?
Yes, I am.
Let's get to it then. What I'm going to learn you here is a Cutter's 6 best bloods. Sneaking about, hiding, picking locks and pockets, finding and removing various traps, and my favourite, stabbing plucky Burks in the back.
Go on.
Sneaking about, hiding in the shadows, moving real quiet like is right handy. Better a live git than a dead Cutter, eh?
Okay.
All right, Cutter. First off, you gotta relax. You're too tense. You're gonna have to let your instinct take over at times and trust your hunches.
After some time running you through the basics, Ratbone nods at you in satisfaction.
I must say, Cutter, never have I runs across a faster learner. I'd say you were pulling the blinds over me and you've done this all before.
As Ratbone speaks, you come to realize that you have done this before. Faded memories of lurking in darkened hallways and avoiding deadly traps drift into focus. Thanks, again. What will you do now?
I'll stick around for a while, see if I can learn the ins and outs of this place. I'll see you around, Cutter. Stay safe.
I'm not sure about that. Filthy rainwater and waste runoff carve deep channels through the muck, draining towards the gate that separates the buried village from the catacombs below. The crumbling fortifications suggest this structure may have once been a guardhouse, but more resembles a gutter now, gathering sewage in its grated bars. A group of Pharod soldiers have been set up here as garrison. Chief among them is a massive human, clad in cast-off patchwork armor, who lounges casually against the iron grill. He calls out to you as you approach, interrupting his idle chatter.
We could be fetching some mighty fine jink. Hey, what do you want?
He truly is huge, and the reek of old ale wafting from his direction almost masks the smell of garbage that fills the place. Evening. Who am I speaking to?
None of your damn business, frankly. Pack off.
Hey, take it easy. I just wanted to know what you're doing here.
What does it look like I'm doing? Washing your underclothes? Get out of here, you stupid Burke.
Now, Pharod gave me his leave to go down to the catacombs. Asked me to retrieve something for him. I'm sure he'd be interested to know why you've decided I shouldn't. He bites his tongue and gives a sharp nod to his men.
Then get going, Burke. And don't waste our time.
Farewell.
Oi, Cutter, wait up.
A sour-faced, middle-aged man scurries after you. You can see that beneath his collector's robes, his lower legs and forearms are swathed in filth-encrusted bandages.
Oh, Cutter, hold up. You heading down into tombs?
It would seem so.
Right, well, I've a favour to ask you.
Go on.
Well, 'cause I lost my lucky knife, you see. Been with me for years, right here.
And?
Well, I was poking about in the tunnels below and ran smack into a ghoul. Must have been a straggler, because there's usually more than one. He bit at me face, so I covered up with my arms and stabbed it in the eyes. Shake the piker off and made it back up here.
That's quite a story.
Aye. So, would you?
Would I what?
Find it. I'd be grateful, so's I would. It's got me name carved into the handle.
He stares at you, expectantly. And your name is...
Oh, right. Ooh, here. Of course.
Hey, tell me, what lies beyond the gate?
The Weeping Stone Catacombs. Lots of deaders, lots of crypts to loot. Grace, he's the one who usually did most of the looting, and... well, we figure he's been caught, snagged by something, penned in the dead book.
What might have caught him?
Oh, any one of the undead stumbling about. Zombies, skeletons mostly. Ghouls, of course.
He signals casually to the bandages covering his limbs.
Horned lizards, vicious fighters is what I hear. Oh, and the flying heads. Oh, those you should watch out for.
Flying heads?
Oh, I don't know much about them, but I know enough to run.
You mentioned Gris.
Yeah, Gris, the vulture. He and the boys went down a few peaks ago, not been seen since. You find his body, you bring it back, yeah?
He smiles at you like a jackal.
We can sell it to the Dusties for some jink.
Why is it called the Weeping Stone Catacombs?
Oh, lots of water drips down, trickles from above. Make it look like the walls are crying. Name follows. So's me dagger?
I'll keep an eye out.
Aye.
Heavy iron clangs behind you as Uhir scampers out of sight and the passage ahead plunges into a steep decline. The greasy mud of the village now gives way to slime-slick slabs of carved stone, and the damp air stills, sputtering your torches as they strive to stay lit in this ancient cold.
Time's tide has eroded these halls. Knowledge of generations lost to memory. I fear to end in such a place would be to end in all existence.
Then let's not let it be an end. We'll keep our eyes open. You make your descent through the catacombs below, a twisting network of narrow tunnels, lined floor to ceiling with shallow ossuaries. Glinting streaks of moisture flicker in the light of your torch as you tread carefully over cracked tiles and broken traps, intended no doubt to deter such passage. Grand hallways open to you, lined with carved sarcophagi, wrought as marble whites, empty of all but dust and scattered bone. Whatever scraps had been left by the looting collectors in these upper tombs hold no discernible value. At the end of one tunnel, a set of tools lies discarded beneath the panel of a great copper door, recently pried from its verdigreed hinges. The stench wafting from within is a vile combination of rotting flesh and bat guano. Rows and rows of neatly arranged skulls and stacked bone form a morbid gallery spanning the circumference of this domed tomb. Their subject, a central cask laid on a circular pedestal.
Chief, I don't like that look in your eye. You can't seriously be thinking about touching that thing.
And why not? Pharod's baubles gotta be in one of these halls. It's as good a place to check as any. And, well, if we happen upon other treasures along the way, it'd be a shame to leave them behind. You approach the pedestal cautiously. A ring of mosaicked glass decorates the ground about it, depicting the life and death of some ancient queen. It seems she met her demise under the fall of a headsman's axe. May her victims bear witness to a judgment in death. Huh. Well, Your Majesty, whatever you did, I'm sure you had your reasons. You notice the tiled pattern breaks partway up the base, interrupting the spiraling flames of an inferno that concludes her story. Leaning in close, you spot a series of tiny glyphs etched up the sides of the pedestal, cunningly disguised in the detail of the image. Their script, however, is misaligned and uneven. Gently, you take hold of the upper bowl, and with a little effort begin to twist the chalice-like stone. Much to your relief, it begins to turn, and with a low grinding sound, you set the glyphs to their proper position. At once, each symbol glows bright orange, then dissipates, inert. Holding your breath, you carefully lift the lid off the urn, revealing a well-preserved skull nestled amongst a bed of ashes. A crown of 5 platinum discs rests upon its brow. Such adornment, my lady, only tarnishes your beauty. As you unburden the queen of her earthly possessions, an odd chattering swells from the gallery of bones. A score or more of leering heads shift their gaze in your direction, and bat-like wings unfurl, flapping as they lurch from the shelves.
What are they? Vaguls.
They a problem?
This many of them are.
Dakon springs to action, sweeping his glaive in a mighty curve. With a crack, it lengthens to a lash, felling 3 of the abominations mid-flight. One head swoops, tongue lolling, babbling with incomprehensible glee. Its visage, shifting in the descent, twists to a mockery of your own. Stretching its now scarred lips, it reveals viper-like fangs and shreds of rotting skin. You meet the horrid reflection with the edge of your axe, severing its jaw with a gurgling cry. Mort is mobbed in the thick of it, indistinguishable from the flurry of skulls as they flicker, mirroring his form, teeth gnashing, eyes wide and mad. With a quick incantation, a volley of bolts flies from your grasp, dropping a handful as they smoke in arcane fumes. Unrelenting, more of the shifting faces now pour in from the cracks about the tomb, swelling the screeching swarm.
There are too many!
Follow me! You brandish your torch, focusing its flame into a blast, and the smell of burning fills your nostrils as you clear a path to the exit. The three of you flee, discarding caution for speed as forking tunnels split your path. Veering to the left, you leap over rubble and broken stone as the yammering heads fill the passage behind. As you dash through an opening, your torchlight glistens across a sea of starry eyes, and familiar light begins to flare about you, emanating from a carpet of fur. Hundreds of skittering feet begin to ripple throughout the hall, and the echoes still for a moment, silent. Then, a surge of static rips about you, launching your body against the wet streaked walls. Numbed by the force, the scrape of tiles slides beneath you as Dakon pulls you from the colliding hordes. And with a foul utterance, a stream of bile-coated bugs burst from your mouth. You hadn't realized the spell would be so vile, erupting into the crowd. They buzz and chew at the mad scurry of rats, claws, wings, and horrid faces. Distanced now from the commotion, you and Dakon catch your breath as Mort inspects the passage ahead.
I think we're clear. For now. I admit, that felt like a bad idea.
Oh, yeah? What gave you that impression?
I'm sorry.
It's a lie drowning. That could have been the end for you.
Dakon, I'm all right.
Your body may be restored, but your mind is broken if you think there's room for such mistakes down here.
I know.
You do not know. You may endure such perils better than most, but know that we must remain to drag you from whatever fate you cast yourself upon.
What do you mean?
The shadows cast by your torchlight seemed to lengthen on Dakon's face, and you were reminded how old you had thought he looked when you had first approached him.
Dakon, if you no longer wish to travel with me, I won't keep you. It is not my wish to bring you to any harm.
A look of pain crosses his face, as if there was nothing that you could have said that would have hurt him more.
On the blasted plains, Zerthaman told Gith that there cannot be two skies. In the wake of his words came war.
Dakon,
Time is precious. Let us not squander it here.
The hall about you is better maintained than most in the catacombs that you have come across before. The vaulted ceiling is corniced, with carvings of razorvine, and the wall is embossed in a relief of battle scenes, wild hunts, and triumph. The impressive display continues for 15 or so feet before it ends, abruptly, with a dark, polished stone wall.
Hey, Chief, you see this?
Is that some script? It's hard to read.
I think it says, "Glory breaks upon the legs of the mighty."
Huh. I think this is the tomb that Arkin, Cheryl's father, had been searching for.
You think it's a riddle?
You look to the leg bone from Marta's hospice, hoping for some clue. And after a pause, grasp it at either end and shatter it across your knee. It splinters into brittle shards, clattering to the floor, and the dark stone before you begins to vibrate. Through the portal, you find a regal and ostentatious tomb. Great hunting trophies are mounted at either end, and sets of armor and gilded weaponry line the walls. All are either overtly ornate or impractically large, ceremonial or decorative only. Sealed off from the damp of the weeping catacombs, however, age has not tarnished them as it has other treasures, and the whole tomb glints golden in the glow of your torch. In the center is a large slab of beautifully carved marble, almost perfectly pristine, if not for the stain of dried blood that mars the far corner to the right. Beneath it, you just see the edges of a mangled form. A man, clothes torn and ruined features, a bag of bright bangles spilled about him.
Oh no. I think we found our man Arkin.
Chief, I don't mean to be callous, but whatever did that to him has to be around here somewhere. We should get out of here, immediately. This tomb was made for the Forgotten. To leave him would be to bind him to that fate as well. We can't carry a body with us through the catacombs, Dakon. Well, I mean, maybe you can't. Oh, nice, Chief. Real classy. I'll remember that next time I drag your ass to some midwife. I do not wish to jeopardize your task. I leave this decision to you.
You notice the glaive on Dakon's back seems less bright than usual. The edges dull, like tin.
All right, Dakon. Let's pick him up.
His body isn't particularly heavy. While it looks like he was strong and able, he was clearly malnourished. Between the two of you, you have no trouble lifting him onto your shoulders, carrying him like pallbearers towards the portal. But, as you approach the dark archway, you are met once again with a panel of polished stone.
The portal's gone. We need the key again. You got another leg bone kicking around?
No.
What in the hells is that?
Lurching towards you is the abominable sight of a skeletal behemoth, thrashing its crested brow with ancient fury. Its hulking shoulders propel it forward, dragging the ruined shards of its legs as they scrape over the marble slab. In one devastating swoop, it mauls you to the ground, sending Arkin's body crumpling to the wall. The dark stones begin to warp and vibrate as throbbing pains shoot through your hip. You look down and see jagged bone jutting from the side of your upper thigh.
Gee, through the portal! Go!
Dakon cleaves at the rabbit mask as vicious fangs snap at your face. Reeling, it arches his back with a mighty roar, its horror vast and beyond. Gritting through the pain, you heave yourself onto your knees and launch headlong through the portal, crashing to the other side. Splintered bone flies through the air as Dakon's glaive whirls about him, filling the hall with its radiant glow. The golden light glares through the beast, illuminating its ribs like the prow of a breaching ship as it emerges from the wall. Strike after frenzied strike slams down as Dakon guides its claws onto broken stone. Relentless, it gores its antlered crown into his chest, tossing him weightless through the air.
No!
Desperate power rises within you, and with a thunderous crack, a blast of force surges from your palms, pushing the terror back through the portal. And as its final screech reverberates through the tunnel, the shimmering wall settles once more to solid stone.
Dakon! Oh no.
You pull yourself along the ground towards him, his face ashen and still. His glaive almost pooling about him, a puddle of molten steel. A horrid rent is gouged through his chest, where the horns of the beast had hooked between the rings in his armor.
He's not breathing.
You find the bead of clotted blood Mebeth gave you and press it under his tongue, massaging his throat to help him swallow. He does not stir. He's starting to feel cold.
No. Alas, poor Dakon. I know him well. No, this is not over. I know what to do.
Quickly, you find the wooden flask strapped about his hip and pull the stopper out with your teeth. Flakes of wispy dust drift from its spout, landing like fresh snow upon his skin. And nothing happens.
No!
You focus on the wounds, remembering how he treated your own as you lay bleeding in the alley behind the bar. You remember the strength it gave you, filling the holes in your skin and bringing clarity to your mind. You remember the warmth of licking tendrils as they sealed the gashes in your flesh. You remember it working.
Something's happening.
His skin flares red as slow trails of blood seep towards the tears, mingling with the powder to a congealed paste. After a moment, the red fades. The sludgy scab flakes away, revealing a patch of smooth and newly grown skin.
Dakon. Please.
He does not answer. His wounds have healed, but no breath rises in his chest. No pulse surges through his veins. His eyes rest closed. None of the tension you're used to seeing in his jaw and brow.
It's not enough.
I'm so sorry, Chief.
No! Well, what can I do? How can I bring him back?
You remember Dakon's strength, his fierce loyalty and unyielding bravery. How unfaltering he stood at the front, facing off any danger without giving a step. You remember his quiet words of wisdom, guiding you towards balanced judgment and clarity of thought. You remember the simple joy of seeing him smoke and sip as he taught you the ways of his language and the arts. You remember his fears upon entering these tombs, that to lose himself would be a fate worse than death.
What have I done? I'm so sorry, Dakon.
As the gnawing regret swells in your stomach, a crawling sensation wells up in the back of your skull.
And in your hand lies the spark of life and death. Those that die near you carry a trace of themselves that you can bring forth.
Warmth pulses down your arms to your fingertips. As you lift up your hand, you can see the blood coursing sluggishly through your arm, pouring into your muscles, and in turn, giving strength to your bones. And it dawns upon you. Without a moment of doubt, you lay your palms upon his chest and will the life back to his body. All of that churning grief twists like a briared knot about your heart. Pangs of pain writhe within, as if old wounds had opened and spilled anew. Your veins pulse, branching black and thick over your skin, as life empties back into him. And with a breath, his coal-like eyes begin to open.
Dakon? It is I.
Are you all right?
I am wounded. You'll be fine.
You were hurt.
I'll be fine.
Already, the bone that was jutting from the side of your leg has reformed. The pain now little more than a dull ache.
So, you're both okay. Okay. Shall we think about getting out of here?
Yeah.
Let's.
Slowly and gently, you take up Arkin's body once more, and notice a faint smile grow in the corners of Dakon's mouth as you limp your way back through the damp halls. It takes you some time to retrace your steps, taking care not to encounter any further traps or hordes of rats, flying heads, or any other abominations. And after an hour or so, you find yourself climbing back to the iron gateway that bars the entrance to the buried village.
Yeah, had a bad go of it, didn't he?
Well, he hasn't come back since last time, has he?
Hey, look.
Oh, Pharod's new prize made it out alive.
And he's brought us a gift.
Pipe down. What you got there? Corpse? Good for now, except jink.
Yeah, I'm just taking it to the seamstress.
Aye, good, but first, you got what Pharod's wanting?
Yes.
Show it to me, Burke, and I'll raise the gate, but not until. Yeah?
All right, I don't have it, but I do have something you might be interested in.
Yeah? What might that be?
How's this loot sound? You jangle Arkin's purse of bangles against the iron bars.
Sounds like that'll do it. That'll do nicely. Pass it through and I'll open the gate.
You know, I never did get your name.
What does it matter? I'm Bar, the gate guard. Now, the loot.
Well, Bar, grab it and it's yours.
All right.
As he reaches for the coins, you snap your grip about his arm. He tries to struggle out of your grasp, but you pin it against the gate and wrench it around.
Now let me in, or I'll break it off, and we'll have no more of your games.
He hastens to open the gate before you can make good on your threat, and stands far out of your reach as you pass through.
You ever cross me again, and they'll be picking your limbs out of 3 different crypts. Understood? Good.
He told you.
Shut up.
Carrying a body through the buried village draws little concern amongst this community. A few eyes do drift in your direction, though, as you detour from Martyr's Hospice to find Cheryl, camped at one of the tents on the outskirts. The smile that brightens on her face as she sees you approach quickly dims as she notices what you are bearing towards her.
Is that him?
I am sorry, Cheryl.
A grimness sets in her eyes.
Well, go on then. Let me see.
Are you sure?
Let me see.
You and Dakon lay Arkin's body upon a reedy mat on the ground. Cheryl does not move. You kneel beside him, and after a pause, carefully pull the veil from his face. His wispy graying hair is matted with dried blood, and heavy bruising purples his brow. His closed eyes rest peaceful under their lids. And beneath his cheekbones, a heavy gash mars the lower half of his face, cutting beneath his nose through to his jaw, exposing broken and bloody teeth.
So the Burke went and got himself killed.
She stares down at him, unmoving, her eyes glazed and distant.
Cheryl, he found a tomb that was...
You go to help her as she folds over, retching.
No, don't touch me.
All right.
Stay back. I'm fine.
She remains stooped, her hands locked to her knees, and after a moment straightens up, her eyes closed tight, her breath short and sharp through the nose.
I know this doesn't make it any better, but he had this on him.
The bangles gleam in the firelight as you open Arkin's pouch. Bright gold bands set with jade stones and amethyst. This was not some minor noble's tomb that Arkin had found, but the burial of a fey and terrible king. With time, you're certain to have found enough riches to garnish all the guards in Sigil.
By any rights, these are yours.
Cheryl slowly opens her eyes, red now and full of quiet tears. As she sees the bag glinting before her, a painful grimace twists upon her face.
And what am I to do with those? Booze from the still is worth more than jewels down here.
Then why stay?
She shakes her head.
What do you mean?
You don't need to be down here.
It's where I belong.
It doesn't have to be. You said yourself that you followed your down here. That you didn't have anywhere to stay in the hive. Well, this would change that.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, maybe not. But why can't things change?
Sigil don't allow change, Cutter.
Who cares about Sigil? What about you?
What does that matter?
Because you matter, Cheryl. Is that such a thing to ask? That you could allow yourself to matter?
The glare of fire dances in her eyes as she stares in towards the central basin of the buried village.
Don't think me ungrateful, Cutter.
I don't.
She reaches out, taking the bag from your hands, before kneeling down, then gently places a kiss upon her father's brow and draws the veil over his face.
Thank you, Dad.
With few words, you aid Cheryl in finding an empty cart and help secure Arkin's body from rats, collectors, or others who might disturb his peace. Then, leave her to decide alone what she'd like to do next. You have no idea of the time down here in the Undersigle, but it feels like an age since you last found any rest, and all three of you are more than weary from your struggles through the warrens and in the upper tombs. Scanning the edge of the basin, you find an empty hovel overlooking the gatehouse. Its crumbling walls are filled with holes, but as ensconced as it is in the skirts of the village, you feel it is already ruined well past collapsing. Inside, it appears to be the basement of whatever building stood above it, long sealed under the weight of the mountain of trash. You find plenty of old sacks piled up in the corners, their contents long rotten or eaten by whatever had chewed its way through their bases. But before you can raise any objections, Dakon has already gathered a neat pile and looks about to collapse upon them at any moment. Even Mort is gently lowered from his hovering, although you're not sure what sleep he truly needs. You are uncertain yourself of what effect a lack of sleep would have on your unique condition, but have no doubt your sanity may begin to suffer further if you were to attempt to push it. Even still, your mind cannot cease racing after the events of the day, or days, however long it's been, and you're drawn, once again, to the strange circle of stone and the teachings of Zerthamon. Almost without thinking, your hands remember the sequence of twists and turns that Dakon had shown you, and the next ring in the sequence effortlessly unlocks.
Zerthamon labored many turnings for the Illithid, Arlathi twice deceased, and his partnership in the cavernous heavens of the false worlds. His duties would have broken the backs of many others, but Zerthamon labored on, suffering torment and exhaustion. It came to pass that the Illithid, Arlathi twice deceased, ordered Zerthamon before him in his many-veined Galeria. He claimed that Zerthamon had committed slights of obstinance and cowardice against his partnership. The claim had no weight of truth, for Arlathi only wished to know if flames raged within Zerthamon's heart. He wished to know if Zerthamon's heart was one of a slave or of a rebel. Zerthamon surrendered to the Illithid punishment, rather than reveal his newfound strength. He knew that were he to show the hatred in his heart, it would serve nothing, and it would harm others that felt as he. He chose to endure the punishment, and was placed within the Pillars of Silence so he might suffer for a turning. Lashed upon the pillars, Zerthamon moved his mind to a place where pain could not reach, leaving his body behind. He lasted a turning, and when he was brought before Arlathi twice deceased, he gave gratitude for his punishment to the Illithid, as was custom. In so doing, he proved himself a slave in the Illithid eyes, while his heart remained free. By enduring and quenching the fires of his hatred, he allowed Arlathi twice deceased to think him weak. When the time of the rising came, Arlathi was the first of the Illithid to know death by Zerthamon's hand, and die a third death.
You look to Dakon and see that despite his weariness, he too lies restless. His coal-black eyes, wide open, stare into the ceiling, reflecting the warm glow of the trash fires still burning within the village. His shifting glaive alters between a catalogue of textures, unable to settle.
Dakon? What is your will?
I have read the Unbroken Circle of Zerthamon.
What did you come to know?
Zerthamon endured suffering to protect his goals, knowing that to resist would see them ended. It teaches that one must endure. In enduring, grow strong. The words you speak seem to strike Dakon strangely. As you pass the stone back to him, the slightest crease tenses in his brow, and a look of anguish fills his eyes that he cannot hide.
Your will has brought you the knowing of the third circle of Zerthamon. With this knowing, I impart this to you.
He takes the circle, and with a deft motion twists one of the links so a new plate slides forth.
Meditate upon its teachings, and the knowing of it shall give you strength.
Very well. Do you agree?
Do I agree to what?
Dakon, I'm sorry.
Why?
His glaive ripples. I'm sorry that my actions, my goals, have led you to endure far more than any could ask. I thought I'd lost you. He remains silent for a moment. The tension in his jaw relaxes, and his glaive sharpens to 2 elongated points.
By your actions, I know your heart. I am glad that we were able to return the father's body to the villager.
Right. Well, I need to go back down and find whatever it is that Pharod is looking for. I want you to know that while I cannot ask any more from you than you've already given, I would like you by my side.
Know that as long as I draw breath, I will remain at your side. This blade is yours. Your path is mine.
Very well. Is there more you can teach me on the ways of Zerthamon? You notice that Dakon isn't looking at you any longer. He is holding the unbroken circle in his hands, studying it closely, and his blade shifts again, now taking on the same texture as the stone. His face looks worn and hollow. Dakon?
Know that I did not believe you would come to know the teachings of the circle. It is a difficult path you will walk in learning the way of Zerthamon. Is your mind focused on this matter?
Yes, I wish to learn more. Dakon once again shows the sequence of twists upon the circle, before resetting it and handing it back to you.
The next circle of Zerthamon is open to you. Study it. Then I will hear your words.
Very well. I will read it, then speak with you again. Thank you. Let's get some rest.
Let's.
A pale light bounces across your face, and your eyes slowly flutter open. Blearily, you try to recall your surroundings, and hear the slow sound of heavy breathing in the corner of the room. The glow of a small candle illuminates a hunched figure. Their hands, outstretched, play about the flame, causing strange shadows to dance across the ceiling. Hey, Mort.
What?
You see this?
Who in the hell's? Should we wake Dakon?
Not yet. Let's see. Hey, you there. They look up as you rise to your feet, unperturbed by your presence. And you see now, lit by the anemic glow of the flame, a burly man with a slackened jaw. A brief flare of grey flickers within his eyes. Who are you? He blinks at you, placidly. Who are you? You raise a finger to point at him, and he mirrors the action before pointing at himself.
Ojo.
Okay, Ojo. I had some questions for you. Ojo just stares. Tell me about yourself. He looks away from you, rubbing his hand. All right. Can you tell me about the buried village? He looks back at you, wonder in his eyes.
A village of people.
Tell me about the people of this village.
Who?
Altera.
Scary witch.
All right. Tell me about some of the others.
Who?
Pharod.
Pharod.
Okay. How about Quint?
Quint.
Gris.
Dead.
What?
Gris dead.
How do you know he's dead?
Man in wall told me.
Man in the wall? Well, does this man in the wall know where Gris's body is?
In the crying place.
Right. Well, tell me about this
man in the wall.
Ojo looks towards one of the walls and then turns back to you, eyes narrowed and the corner of his mouth twitching.
What are you doing?
Ojo talked to me.
He stops abruptly and massages his hand. It looks inflamed, and a large scab peels from his skin.
What happened to your hand?
A bit.
Who bit you, Ojo?
He stares at the wall, eyes wide with amazement. Mort then bobs towards him.
Hey there, big hitter.
Ojo turns away from the wall and stares at Mort, the greyish light smoldering in his eyes.
Who you?
Come on now, you can tell us.
You leave.
All right, Mort, that's enough.
Yeah,
whatever you say, boss.
No, you leave. You leave.
Let's get out of here.
The three of you make your way to the gatehouse.
Top of the morning, lads.
Your joviality is met with grumbles, and Bar, the gate guard, looks at you with mingled fear and loathing, but hastens to open the gates. He does not meet your eye as you pass. Back down in the catacombs, you take your time checking the pathways for danger and quietly move on, ignoring any smaller tombs, whether they hold treasures or no. Pharod had said the sphere would be deep under the village, far deeper than his collectors had dared venture before. And so, you find what tunnels are carved into the depressions of the stony floor and head downward. Deeper within the catacombs, the rivulets of moisture become trickling streams, and the lingering smell of decay fades to a cold mineral tang. You pass great stone faces carved into the walls, like eerie watchers, silent, witnessing all that pass. Eventually, you come to one network of passages that is almost completely ruined. The walls have caved in, smashing down into a layer of tunnels below, and from what you can tell, it looks as if it were intentional. Chunks and chisel marks have been beaten out of some of the lower portions of the stonework, and the loose rock is piled up to form a kind of stairway, with several ropes tracking by its side, secured by iron pegs hammered into the rubble.
Hey, Mort, any chance you could just float on down and have a quick look around?
Chief, I would, but I don't want to deprive you of the thrill of descending blind into the darkness.
Is that so?
You toss your torch over the edge of the debris and watch it fall about 30 feet before clattering across the stony floor below. You then loop your arm through one of the lengths of rope. It feels damp and a little worn, but seems sturdy enough to hold your weight should you slip.
Well, watch my back, I guess.
The rope creaks and strains as you pick your way down the broken stones, and the constant flow of water has made slick patches of mold spread along the surface. But after a little effort, you make it to the base and signal for Mort and Dakon to follow. This lower hall is a cavernous space with great arching panels lining the walls. Strange carvings decorate the stonework, but they are difficult to make out, and you cannot tell if they have been worn over time or if the decorations are intentionally formless. Smooth, organic shapes twist into spirals and sprout clusters of bulbous protrusions. It hurts your eyes to try and focus on the images, but it almost hurts your mind as you try and fathom them. Towards one end of the hall, set before a descending passage, is a large sculpture. It appears to have once been a globe made of reddish stone, encased within a crown of probing tentacles. But now, it is cracked and covered in scratches and chips, and seems to be marred with a foul-smelling substance.
This was the symbol of Manzakorian, a god of secrets and the exploitation of knowledge, and one of the perverse deities of the Illithids.
Dakon's grip tightens about his glaive, and its edge spreads into a row of vicious, serrated teeth.
We should move on. The rat stink is strong down here.
Indeed, the pungent musk of rodent fur and excrement hangs about the place, and it only gets stronger as you travel further through the tunnels. You begin to notice jagged marks scraped along the flagstones, and hear the gradually building clacking of clawed feet echo about the halls around you.
Chief,
I'm not sure we can avoid this. What do we do? I don't know. Make a break for it? Whatever we do, we should act fast.
The sounds grow louder and heavier. These are not just rats, but something far larger.
Go!
You race down the hallway as two bestial figures emerge from out the gloom. A shadow of fur and blades, they pounce to strike. You throw your shoulder into one, knocking it into the wall as the other casts a net that Dakon shears with a strike. Rushing along, you pass several more as hooked staves swing to trick you. You leap, dashing from their reach, scattering packs of cranium rats from under your feet. Light peeks ahead, a doorway. Perhaps you can hold them at a choke point. You have no choice. Sprinting, you swing through the threshold, slamming the wooden boards behind you. A crashing thud as heavy bodies smash through your barricade, pounding you into the dust. Before you can rise, a troop of snarling man-rat hybrids file in, surrounding you, their thick, worm-like tails lashing. They bear hungry, needled grins.
Stand down, stand down!
One, more decorated than the rest, steps forward and grasps your chin with a gauntleted paw. It leers into your face, locking its gaze with yours. Their red eyes gleam with a certain cunning.
So, a biped comes, willing to the halls of many as one. What do you want, and where do you intend to go? Step lightly, intruder, and speak the truth to Mantuok.
We were just leaving.
No, no, biped. You were not. Now, answer my question. What do you want, and where are you going?
We came here through the buried village, and we're down here exploring.
The village. Refresh my mind. The scavengers, yes? Have you come to scavenge?
No, I have not.
Then your answer forces Mantuok to inquire, why are you here? A wrong turn? A bad step? A succession of mistakes? Yes? Have you come seeking me, or many as one? Perhaps you simply do not know why you are here. You will explain this to me, now.
It was a succession of mistakes.
A succession of mistakes. Yes. It would have been much better for you to have made one less mistake and not have found your way here.
What do you mean?
This is no place for man. No place for man at all.
He stares deep into your eyes and begins sniffing you.
You are truly ignorant, yes. Clear it is that you have come here in error. Shame. It seems we must learn to live with your stench. You will never see the light of day again.
As he speaks, he weaves his hands in an intricate pattern, and smoke begins to pour from out his fingers.
No, wait, we can talk this
Before you can finish, the fumes envelop you and choke out your lungs. Your skin goes numb, and you watch as Morton Dakon begin to crumble and flake away. Shock and nausea overwhelm you, and you feel your body collapse as your world dissolves into darkness. Then, stinging agony as sensation floods back to your limbs, and you materialize from the smoke, scattering onto the cold, wet floor of a darkened chamber. You are lying in a shallow puddle of icy water. A slow drip falls from the ceiling above. There is just enough light reflecting off the pool to reveal the rusted bars of your cell. Morton Dakon are nowhere to be seen. You are uncertain how much time has passed since the ambush in the tunnels, but periodically your solitude is punctuated by the arrival of another of the rat men as they amble by on patrol. They are a strange creature. It is hard to make out detail in the low light, but their form is lanky yet hunched, with thick shoulders and skinny limbs. Their snuffling breath is sharp and ragged, and they mutter frequently with an erratic hissed displeasure of their current assignment.
Hey, guard.
Glad, it would seem, of any excuse to alleviate the tedium, the wandering were-rat shuffles towards your cage.
What you want? Meat?
I just want to talk to you.
You just want to talk, eh? Well, you keep your hands to your side. No tricks will get past old Rymon, that's for sure. What are you, anyway? A corpse? Some trio, you.
Trio? My friends, my companions. Are they here?
Oh, they? No, I'm not answering that. No tricks, eh?
Hey, what did you say your name was? Rymon? Rymon, look, if you let me out of here now, I'll let you live.
You let me live? If I let you out?
You heard me right.
Oh, you would, eh? Oh, and what might make it worth our while to disobey Mantuok and risk the wrath of the rats?
Is your life not enough? I'll say it again. If you let me out of this cage now, I'll allow you to live.
Rymon looks you over and sneers.
You think you could hurt me, hey? You'll have to find a way out first.
Well, think about it. I am clearly a danger to you, otherwise I wouldn't be in here. And yet, I'm speaking to you as an equal. Do you really think these bars can hold me if I put my mind to it? I suggest, without threatening you, that it's in your best interests to let me go.
The were-rat goes silent for a moment.
Well, I never cared much for...
Get away from the cage, underling. I must speak with the biped.
Mantuok comes striding towards you and brushes the guard aside. There is a tense fury about him, and he raps his staff against your cage near your hands.
Say again, intruder. What is your purpose within the catacombs? Do not lie, it will not serve you well.
I said I was exploring and had no intention of intruding on your territory.
You have been spied amongst our kin, biped. A shadow of intrigue follows you. The Many as One has taken notice of your passage.
Then I should speak with this Many as One. I have no doubt we would have much to gain from the discussion.
He leans in, eyeing you closely, a manic grin growing on his face.
Your business. Speak it to me, biped.
And I shall convey your intentions to the Many.
I don't think so.
And why? What business could you have with Many as One who had not been a thought in your head until our meeting? That cannot be shared with me.
That is no concern of yours.
I am the claw of us. We, Many as One. You will tell me your business.
Twitching, he calms himself, biting down with gritted fangs.
You shall tell me, or you shall have difficulties, yes?
If this Many as One wishes to speak, they would make you suffer if you were to try and harm me, Mantuok.
Mantuok jumps, thrashing his neck.
Nasty, nasty, nasty human! Threatens Mantuok, disrespects Mantuok, spits upon his duty, speaks barbed threats to Mantuok's ears. No friends have you made today, human.
He strains as if a collar had been pulled about his throat, and his eyes flicker, scanning the air. Then his head tilts, and he relaxes again. When his eyes refocus, they are filled with loathing.
Your business had better be worth hearing, biped, or your torment will be legendary. To many as one we go. You'll speak your piece.
You are dragged to your feet and forcibly pushed through the dark tunnels of this rat warren. It's hard to keep track of the narrow passageways, and the low light suffers little chance to gather information on your whereabouts. But you catch some glimpses of the scale of the place. Cluttered batteries full of old siege equipment and disused war machines, racks of weaponry lining the walls, cruel torture devices, and the occasional decomposing body or pile of bones. You recognize the collector's robes bundled on the floor. With proper organization, you have no doubt these tunnels could house a small army and pose a real threat to the city above. Eventually, you are shoved through a hatch into a high chamber. You can barely make out a series of shelved platforms rising above. Mantuok snarls with glee.
Many-voiced master, I come bearing a gift. This interloper has much to share with you. Go? But... You and I shall meet again, biped.
I'm looking forward to it.
The hatch closes, leaving you in total darkness. A strange humming creeps into your mind. Then, gradually, tiny glinting pinpricks flicker about you. 10, 20, 100, 1,000 grey star-like points fill the space, and the skittering sound of clawed feet and rat-like squeaks swells. You are lifted as if caught in the crest of a rising wave.
Murderer.
You are staggered by the sound of unknowable voices speaking as one into your mind. There is a depth and an insistence to the communication that beggars speech.
Speak your purpose here, biped, and speak swiftly and true. You are in the halls of many as one. You will not leave, but by our grace. No, we see your mind and smell your lies. Speak.
Who are you?
We are the eyes in the dark places. We are the many who think as one. You need not ask questions. You need only answer ours. What do you do in this place? So far from the lighted corridors of your kind.
I came to see you, many as one.
You lie, biped.
Suddenly, the many eyes flare, and you see Morton Dakon suspended in tendrils of light, as though coiled in the clutches of some tentacled beast.
You were seen in the tunnels. You were seen in the scavenger village. You were seen amongst the tombs. We have seen you countless times before. You are a spy, a murderer. You are an assassin.
No, I am not.
You lie.
This ain't good, Chief. Watch what you say or they'll wipe your mind clear.
Mort!
Silence. In these warrens of thorns, we, us, many as one, reign supreme. Speak your mind and banish lies from thought. Why do you tread these lightless halls?
If you can read my mind, then why must I speak?
A surge of pain racks your body like the piercing of 1,000 needles.
We can't read your mind, biped. Do not test us.
Then you know who sent me, and you know what I am capable of.
You force the bluff out of your thoughts and focus on a name. Bard, a gate guard, comes to mind.
The Silent King sent you. Assassin. Murderer.
Who?
Do not pretend. It will not serve you well.
You can't read my mind. Why not?
Another surge, this time deeper, as if it could flex and warp your very bones.
Your mind may be walled to us, but you can die like any creature.
No, I cannot.
You are wrong. You live at our indulgence. We are everywhere here.
Light pours into your chest, and you feel as if you might explode. Your tendons screech, blood vessels swell. Perfect agony.
Perhaps we cannot kill you outright. We can make you scream for death's release. We can bury you in endless earth. We can banish you to eternal fire. We can destroy all that you can.
All right. Stop. What do you want?
We may have use for you.
What is it? Let us go, and I'll do what you need.
Such bargains require trust. We cannot trust you.
How can I convince you?
Prove yourself worthy of trust. Go to the halls of the walking dead. Strike down their leader. Kill the silent king. End him.
If you have not already done this yourself with such power, then how could I?
We can scale many things, but your mind is a barrier to us. This makes you dangerous, invisible, an assassin. The dead are entrenched, difficult to harm. Their silent king, a mystery. We do not like mysteries. We strike where there is no doubt. The silent king makes us doubt. You make us doubt. Perhaps you can strike the silent king.
And if we do, you will allow us safe passage through the catacombs.
Do this, and we will spare you. Leave you and your companions to find doom within the tunnels above and below. Please us, and we will share a wealth of knowledge, secrets blocked from your mind. Do not, then have no doubt we will strike down all you know. There would be no escape.
The light flares again, and you see the towering structure above you. An endless horde of glowing rats, channeling their power as one.
I accept.
Very well.
At once, the pale glow funnels down through the tower and forces out the hatch, bursting along the corridor.
Go. Follow the light. We will guide you to the dead's domain.
A coursing chain of rats illuminates your passage, leading you through the winding routes of the catacombs. Dakon and Mort, harrowed and exhausted, follow close by until you finally arrive at a large gateway.
Please us, murderer.
As you push against the ornate panel, the last of the rats skitter out of sight.
Stop!
You are met by a phalanx of gleaming spears, fronted by a tall knightly figure, its skeletal hand outstretched, palm towards you.
Thou have come too far, traveler, and trespassed into the dead nation's realm of the silent king. Will thou submit peacefully?
Submit to what?
'Tis the will of the silent king that all who pass the gates into our nation become prisoners of his lands. Will thou submit?
Very well. We'll submit.
Come then. We shall show thee to the chapel. Do not resist, and by our honor you shall meet no harm.
Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.